Right, thank you very much, Moro. You recall last week when I broke the news on your show, immediately the responses we got from the NDC and the government was a complete denial that no, there was no such flight that ever came. Ntim Fordjour is a reverend, he's lying, he's fabricating a story to create fear and panic. They completely denied it.
Who
denied the government, it? Even including the gentleman who debated me on the show. Subsequent to that, they dispatched all their social media and government spokespersons to go on social media debunking what I had put out. I went further to Ofosu saying, I stressed the matter. And then they came again, denied, it's not true, it's palpable falsehood. No such flights ever came, So fine. I further went with my colleagues, my deputy ranking and colleagues on the Defense and Interior Committee on behalf of the minority in Parliament. This issue on the suspicious flights, together with two other important security concerns, we put them together into three matters, and we raised a press conference on Monday, the 1st of April, on the presence of Parliament. And among other things, we called on national security to provide updates into the raids they conducted in Sapiman on February 9th, which uncovered 12 20-footer containers filled with gold, cash, and all that, which you and I didn't occasion that raid. We didn't show that video. We didn't take any video. They themselves produced these videos and put them out there. And we thought that after 2 clear months of conducting that video in the full glare of the media, it is only prudent that they update the public. So we raised our concern. How much is the gold? How much is the cash? How much is the dollars? Who is behind it? What was the purpose? How far has investigations gone? Who are the culprits? How many of them have been arraigned before court for the past 2 months? No update whatsoever. So we raised it. And we also raised the air med flight and the cargo air, the air ambulance designed specifically to carry patients, specifically patients or maybe cops can be transported by that. It was designed just for that. Coming from Gran Canaria on March 20th, and then landing at Kotoka International Airport. And our checks had indicated there was no patient that it carried, there was no cops that it carried, stayed here for 5 days. And then on March 25th, 1 a.m., departed to Gran Canaria without any patient. So it raised a lot of suspicion. But whilst it landed, there were movements to and from the aircrafts. But there was no established evidence of any cops or patients on board. So it raised a lot of suspicion. And around that same time, another private jet, Cargo Air, also arrived 12th of March, landed at the Kotoka International Airport, stayed here for 13 days, and there was no credible information around them as to exactly what they came to do in Ghana, only for them also on that same 25th March, both away with the same air med flight, back to the same location, Gran Canaria. And there were suspicious movement to and from the flights. Meanwhile, there was no evidence of the particular purpose they came to do. A lot of suspicions were carried. It dovetailed into the same period where $150 million street worth of cocaine was busted in Takoradi, which was purported to be belonging to one Charles Hagan, who was the NDC parliamentary candidate as secondee in the 2020 elections. We never heard anything about it again. Then we also had around that same time a high-profile cocaine bust of $350 million, which was busted in containers. Containers. There's something with this government and containers. Containers from Cape Coast to Accra, they busted it. So when you put these two together, $500 million worth of cocaine within that same time was busted. Amidst the February 9th raid that was purported to be money laundering and illegal, handling of and transportation and custody of gold bars, that raid was conducted by national security, and they went there with media when they got the intel, they acted upon the intel, and they carried media along, and they carried the whole country along. I applauded them for showing that transparency in conducting a major raid. So it dovetails around money laundering, cocaine busts, around that same time. And that same 25th March, that those two suspicious flights returned to the same Gran Canaria, happened to be the same day that Kotoka International Airport suffered a doomsday that had never happened before in the history of Kotoka International Airport. And yet, authorities were seized with information, and yet they sealed their lips. No one was communicating. So the mighty minority took it upon ourselves to bring these matters to the fore, including a pirate attack that was reported on our waters by Ghana Armed Forces. And we called on the state relevant agencies to quickly investigate, but more importantly, update the public on the status of these investigations. When we raise these matters, the naysayers are quick to say it is inappropriate. Why should minority raise these issues on radio or on TV? But the TV and the cameras that accompany the raids, were they sent by minority? Were they sent by Ntim Fordjour? They were the same people who took it there. And is it not consistent that they provide updates to the public? Up to now, nobody has spoken. So we raised it. When we raised it, it's not true, it is a lie. Now quickly, President Mahama issued a directive on his Facebook wall and said that he has taken the matter seriously. And the matter must be quickly investigated by National Security, NACOC, and BNI, Police, CID. And he also urged them to collaborate with me because in my capacity as a member of parliament, and also, yes, you can see as a honorable member of parliament, I raised the matter. And so they should also collaborate with me for us to unravel if there are any issues and quickly update the public, because he insists that there will be zero tolerance for cocaine and money laundering and such matters. In his post, he also indicated and confirmed the $350 million cocaine bust, and the president described it as high profile. So the president gave this, and so that was on 1st April. If this directive from the president was not rhetorics, but was something that he really meant, that instructions had been given for them to collaborate for us to investigate the matter and update the public, quickly, I would have expected an invitation. No invitation came. I took it upon myself on the second day, which is 2nd April. I wrote to call for a joint security briefing of all the agencies President Mahama in his post had mandated to collaborate with us for us to unravel the matters. And if there are some updates to be given, they provide it. I personally wrote, calling on the chairman of my committee. And we had discussions. And the minority were in addendum that yes, the majority were in addendum that yes, in the full glow of transparency, it is even important that when they come to meet you in Parliament and to give you updates, and for you to also avail to them further information, you cannot, in the spirit of circumspection, divulge on air or media, you to give them and to collaborate to assist their investigations. It would not be appropriate that you do it alone. So the committee will accompany so that it's a bipartisan, and we do this interaction often because we exercise oversight over them. And so even their budgets, we approve it for them. So we engage them on various matters. We invite them, they come. The armed forces, we invite them, they come. On 2 occasions, at my instance, we had invited the Minister for Defense, the Minister for Interior, and their security couples. They had come, and then we had some very meaningful engagements on certain security matters, which laid certain matters to rest. And they also took on board our suggestions at my instance. So in the same way, after that understanding was established, I wrote this calling for the joint meeting and then demonstrating my availability for them to come for us to have a discussion. Then the next thing I saw was a letter purportedly addressed to me, signed by the chairman of the committee, but posted by Honorable Dafian Bekpo, who is the majority chief with the NDC majority whip. He posted it on his social media handle. To date, I have not even received a copy of that said letter, but it is addressed to me, not even on WhatsApp or hard copy. But he posted it on his social media handle. And that was when I cited it. But to date, I haven't even seen a copy. They blocked that meeting are called for, and even postponed it to a month or so later, indefinitely, whenever they deem fit and whenever they think that we're back in Parliament. And they blocked that opportunity for the security agencies to come for us to have a discussion. Then they turn around through my good friend Honorable Ofosu to come and discredit me in their attempted, struggled response that one, I lied, and two, I am running away from the invitation of the security agencies. And I dare him to show a copy of that invitation, which the security agencies issued to me, that I'm running away from. To date, he has failed to produce any such thing. If collaboration with the security agencies, as directed by the president, was something that they thought was needful and not rhetoric, and if they thought that there was something that if I get to know further from the probe I will have with them when we meet, and it will be harmful to their reputation, referencing the NDC people who are involved in some of these cocaine, one of which happened in Takoradi. Perhaps there's more to hide, and so they blocked it. And after blocking it, you turn around to lie that I am running away from invitation. Where is that invitation? Where is that? And so I say it again on this show, that Ofosu lied at the outset when he said that I've been invited and I'm running away. Nobody has invited me. So if you begin the premise of your defense of a matter that does not relate to you, relating specifically to state security and intelligence agencies with lies, everything else that follows must be taken with a pinch of salt. You cannot be trusted. Now, I am surprised that the simple questions we asked for answers to be given related to specific agencies, majority in Parliament is gagging the security agencies from doing what they have to do, answering the questions we raised, and the president also took it upon himself that the Flagstaff House now should lead the communication of these specific matters that you yourself had earlier directed the security agencies. Now you have gagged that interaction and gagged the security agencies from engaging the public and giving them updates on simple matters of a matter that is in public domain of high public interest, cocaine that you busted and announced. What has become of it? The gold and the cash you busted and put the videos out. What has become of it? This one too, must it go to Flagstaff House for Flagstaff House to now be the champion defender of cocaine, money laundering, and gold busts? Fine. If that is what they want to do, then they should be truthful. Listen to the response by Ofosu. He says that, yes, initially, remember when I broke the news, they denied it. Oh, it's never true. Ofosu is lying. He is concocting lies. No such flights have come. Then some media houses did their initial checks and said, no, it is true. These flights came in and they left exactly the time minority had put out. Then they turn around to change the narrative. Okay, now it is true. We denied it initially, but now it is true. Those 2 flights came in. But what did they come to do? That's all Ghanaians want to hear. If Ghana Airport Company or National Security or NACOC had even issued a very simple statement providing responses, I think Ghanaians would have even given it some confidence and trust. Well, these are state agencies. These are professionals. But a political propagandist, government spokesperson comes in, lies, and starts lying further to say that when they came, they landed from Gran Canaria, they shot the air ambulance, they shot fuel, and from Gran Canaria, the first place you come to is Morocco, when you're entering Africa. Where were they going? That they shot fuel, and it's only Ghana they came to fuel before they went to wherever they went to go. And that they didn't have fuel in Morocco, they didn't have fuel in Niger, they didn't have fuel in Cameroon, or Nigeria, or Niger, Burkina Faso. They didn't have fuel in Yakubu Tali International Airport in Tamale. They didn't have fuel in Kumasi, Prempeh, the first international airport, and it was only Accra they could have fuel. They landed fine. If they came and fueled, all of a sudden after fueling, they had a fault. And so there were some parts that had to be brought. And so they brought another part, and then they fixed it. And just when they fixed it, they had to go back to Gran Canaria, the same place they had come. Where were they going before? And which patient, the patient they were carrying, which hospital within that 5 days did they offload to? If there was corpse, which mortuary did they put that corpse in? So he just came in here to do servicing. So Ghana has become hub for aircraft maintenance. So they came and did it. Granted, around that same time, the other aircraft that came in, the explanation that Ofosu is wants Ghanaians to believe is that it came, and when it came, as soon as it was coming from Angola, and it was going to Europe, but they didn't have any permit to enter Europe. But they had to come to Ghana to obtain permits. Is Ghana the permit point for European flights? And that you are coming from Angola going to Europe, and it is Ghana, you took off before you realized that you didn't have permit. So you land in Ghana, obtain a permit. So after obtaining permit, suddenly they are tire bursts. Suddenly they had engine faults. Suddenly their engine were leaking with oil. Suddenly the wings had a fault. Okay. And they had to bring another. And then they took videos, some purported videos of combustibles carried on the cargo. This is a flight that departed 25th of March. 25th of, where did they obtain those videos from? Okay. No, I'm coming. Where did they obtain those videos from? Let me just
acknowledge that your colleague is here, so you can continue. Let me just say he's here.
Very well. So they said that they developed a fault all of a sudden in this country, and they had to bring another aircraft. And they showed some videos of some old gallons, dirty gallons of combustibles that they carried, and then some parts, some oil drilling spare parts, and they were taking that to Europe. Laughable.
Okay.
Laughable. Now, again, so all those two flights, unrelated, got sick, got problems, faults, they landed, they fixed their problems, and all of them coincidentally got discharged the same day, same 25th March, and they went to the same Gran Canaria. And then we are made to believe that the same coincidence coinciding with the Colossus Doomsaw that has never, such kind has ever happened before in Kotoka International Airport. So these three coincidences happened.
Okay.
And then we are made to believe that this is what we should go to the streets with.
Right.
I was expecting that further, he would have also gone to attempt to respond to the two issues that we also asked, besides the flights. He should have responded to the cocaine. Where are they? Who are behind it?
Okay.
Has any culprit been arraigned? He never mentioned anything about it.
Right.
We expected him to provide responses on the updates of the raid conducted at Sapeman, the containers filled with gold, cash, and all that. What has happened to it?
Okay.
And what does the state intend to do with it? Any update? He failed to talk about it. But in conclusion, I am calling upon the relevant security agencies to lead their own communication. If they allow the Presidency, Flagstaff House, and they allow Ofosu to lead this communication, they will bring their own image into disrepute. Because of credibility matters.
Okay.
For what it's worth, they must, as a matter of urgency today, relevant security and intelligence agencies, just issue statement or engage the press. Because you started it by carrying the press along. It is only respectful and prudent that you are circumspect, you issue a press statement, very brief, give updates or engage them, give updates so that they can trust. Because for me, my handling of state institutions and security, you already know my philosophy. It is not political. I have even argued that when presidents come, they ought to be careful how they change security top heads because they are the state.
Okay.
They must be decoupled from politics. This is a state matter. And so the Flagstaff House and Ofosu and President Mahama, they seem to be emotionally connected to these matters. Please, they should decouple those emotions and allow the state agencies to issue their defense, issue their information. Perhaps what they will even put out there will allay fears. Perhaps
you've made that
what
point.
They will put out there will carry the public along, so that we would not turn suddenly this country that has become the most peaceful country, the second most peaceful country in Africa for about 8 years. Suddenly 3 months becoming a hub for cocaine and money laundering. That reputation we should resist it. And so let us all together, help to have a good name for this country and not weaken and denigrate the credentials this country has.